friends, my name is Taylor. Welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to talk through the mid-year book freakout tag because somehow it's the end of June. So I have essentially the back half of the year to get through the things that I want to get to from a reading perspective. So without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, friends. Can't believe it's already July. This is so wild, but let's talk through some fun prompts for the tag. First of which is, what has been your favorite book so far in 2026? And I have two, actually three. Yeah, I think I have three. The first one is in a surprising plot twist that I didn't see coming. The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. This is a book I ended up picking up for my book club that I'm a part of, and this is why I love being part of a book club, because I read things that I don't really pick up general fiction that often, especially adult fiction, and so reading this really brought me out of my reading comfort zone of romantasy, fantasy, good time books, and this was just such a good time to read. I really enjoyed this. This follows a woman who essentially is writing letters and correspondence to people in her life across different avenues, and it was just so well written. I feel like I really felt the dynamic of the relationships even through the letters, and just the way the story built throughout the time that this was written and the years that it follows kind of her correspondence. I just really enjoyed and I really liked it, and definitely was a plot twist for me that I was not expecting. Next, I want to give a shout out to Renegades. This is why I leave YA on my shelves for so long, because this is such a good book. I knew I would enjoy it, but this series, I'm not quite done yet. I still have the third book in the series to read, but this is Renegades by Melissa Meyer. This essentially follows a world in which superheroes exist, and I love that concept so, so much. And yeah, like I said, the dynamic of these characters, the world in which it's been built, I just am enjoying it so much, and I'm trying to kind of draw it out a little longer because of how much I'm enjoying it before finishing the third one. But yeah, overall, big fan of this. Last honorable mention for favorite books that I've read so far this year is getting into the Emma M. Lyons series. I found out about this from a fellow booktuber and really just got so hooked on the series. I'm 3 into, I think, what's part of a 7-book series. They're little novellas. They're so quick to read. I've actually been listening to them mostly on audiobook, and I just am enjoying it so much. I feel like this is an undiscovered gem that's really gotten quite popular from since I've heard about it. So I'm really enjoying reading the series, and definitely am glad that I picked the first one up. Next question in this tag is, what has been your favorite sequel so far to read this year? Of course, I have to then mention Arch Enemies. This is the second book in the Renegade series. This is just a great continuation of the story. Again, I haven't finished this trilogy yet, but I've just really enjoyed picking this up. It's been super anticipated for me to get into the third one, and I just really enjoy where they took the story in the second one as well. So like I said, highly anticipating finishing the third one to finish out the trilogy, and definitely enjoying this world that she has built out. Very good. Honorable mention for that too as well has to be Onyx Storm, continuing on in the Imperium series by Rebecca Yarros. I really actually ended up enjoying this more than I thought that I would, and where the story kind of ended up going. The second one for me was a little bit harder to buy off on, but I really liked the aspect of the third one and kind of seeing the world expand within this storyline. So definitely excited to see where this one goes, and excited to see what this fourth mystery book is that's coming out later this year. So excited for that as well. Okay. Next question is, new release you haven't gotten to yet this year. So of stuff that's come out yet that I haven't completed, the list is quite extensive. However, a couple honorable mentions that I'll give are The Break Room by Maya Lee. This is the author of the Delegate Dream Department Store, who I actually really liked. I need to read the second one in that series too as well. This one essentially, I think, follows a game show drama, and essentially 8 unsuspecting people receive an invitation to participate in a new reality show. Essentially, they are chosen and voted to be the office villain. So I just think this one is so interesting. It's so short. I feel like I could read it in a couple sittings. But yeah, this is definitely on the list for sure. As well as The Midnight Train by Matt Huang. The Midnight Library was one of my favorite books that I read in the most recent past I think 5 years or so. I really loved that. So to be able to read something kind of in that same world, I'm very, very excited to get to this and think it's going to be so good. Next question is most anticipated release for the back half of the year. I have quite a few. This year, I feel like especially is like the year of continuations of series. So honorable mention, of course, for the next book in the Imperium series, the next books in the ACOTAR series. There's a new Harry Potter series book of the illustrated editions that is coming out. I mean, those are the first like high level. The next Heartstopper book is coming out, I think in July in this month, which I'm so excited to read and finish that series. What else? Yeah, I think there's a few other ones, but those are like the top of my list that I'm the most excited for. So the back half of the year is going to be a good one. I'm excited. Okay, shifting directions slightly. What is the most disappointing book that I read for this part of the year? And that is a couple that I have honorable mentions for. The first one is Afterworlds by Scott Westerfeld. This is a book that has been sitting on my shelves for years. I feel like I had this in quite a few of my books to read in X year, and I finally got to it at the beginning of this year, and I didn't like it. I love Scott Westerfeld's books. His Ugly series is probably one of my favorites from my high school time of my life. I loved that series and that world so much, and I just didn't like this one. It was a dual POV story. There was a version of the story I liked significantly more than the other. And yeah, I just am really bummed I didn't like it. This was definitely by far a huge disappointment. And then I'm gonna make people upset about this because this is such a pretty addition too. But The People We Meet on Vacation, I've tried a couple of Emily Henry's books and they just don't really do it for me. Yeah, I ended up reading this one. I got through it. I saw the movie. I liked the movie. The book was fine. I just didn't really, I don't know. I just didn't really care. And by the time the spice came, the tension for me just wasn't doing it. It was good. It was good. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I just feel like I don't know if Emily Henry is like my romance girly. I want to try maybe another one by her. I have a couple more of her books on my shelves and maybe do like a Third Time's the Charm with her to see if I am an Emily Henry fan or not. We'll see. Okay, other two honorable mentions. These ones I read on my honeymoon. This one is The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa. This was one that I was really looking forward to, and I think the ending for me just really let me down on this one. I like the direction it was going. It's giving Giver, it's giving dystopian, and then it just kind of went off the rails and got a little too ambiguous for me when I finished it. So this one was a bit of a bummer as well, along with not necessarily a disappointment, but just a book that went in a direction I wasn't expecting, which was Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wade Jones. I think I just had the storyline of the movie so ingrained in my head that reading the original book was a little off-putting in that it went in a completely different direction than what I expected. So yeah, it was interesting. I enjoyed it, but I think I prefer the movie. We'll leave it at that. Okay, next question is the biggest surprise you had of this year. And again, I think I have to bring back out the correspondent for this one. This essentially was something that, again, surprised me. I went into this not really knowing what to expect and really ended up enjoying it a lot more than I thought that I would. Again, I don't know if I'm a full-on fiction, general fiction girly, but some of the things that I've read as a part of book club that kind of fit within that category, I've enjoyed more than I've expected. So definitely kudos and shout out to this one for being something different for me and surprising. All right, friends, next question is who is your new favorite author from 2026? And I definitely have to give a shout out to Beth Breyer. She by far has become my new favorite author, just in the way that she writes, the stories that she tells. I've really enjoyed listening to the M.M. Lyons series and want to pick up more from her in this realm. I just think she writes such interesting characters that are so engaging and memorable, and I've really enjoyed picking up her stuff and love it so, so much. All right, we're gonna rapid fire through the rest of these because my battery is is draining very quickly, but the question is the book that made you cry. And I actually haven't cried from a book so far this year, but the book that really just gave me a very visceral reaction, which is almost to me as strong, is The Kite Runner. This book was rough to read. It is such a hard book to get through in a lot of ways of just certain aspects of this book. If you know, you know. I don't think I've had as strong of a visceral reaction to where I had to physically put the book down and like take a day away from it in a very long time. So again, this one I'd say, while it didn't make me cry, definitely gave me a very strong negative, like not great emotion. So definitely a shout out to this one for sure. And then the next question is a book that made you happy. And for that one, I have to give a shout out to The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I'm so excited to continue on in the world of The Spell Shop. I think it's so warm, so fluffy. I enjoyed just the aspect of these characters so immensely. They were so memorable. Kaz, I think, is one of my new favorite characters from what I've read this year. He was so adorable to read. He's a sentient spider plant, which I just loved. So yeah, I would say happy books would definitely be The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, and I'm hoping to get to more of her books this year in the back half too as well. And then the next question is, what are the most beautiful books that you've bought this year? Of which I think I have to give a shout out to two books I haven't read yet, and maybe it's just because I think they just go so well together, and that is Thistle March by Maria Corrigan and Stay for a Spell by Amy Koob. I think both of these are cozy fantasy, if I remember correctly, or maybe a little romantasy. I'm really excited to read these, and I just think they're both stunning. I'm very excited to have them on my shelves. Okay, and the next question is books that you want to read before the end of the year. For that, I give a quick shout out to the summer TBR that I put together, along with my 26 to read in 2026. If you guys haven't seen those, I will link them down below. Couple honorable mentions though for that is the Menagerie Krakens and Lies. This is the third book in the Menagerie series by T. Sutherland and Carrie Sutherland. I've been loving this middle grade series, along with Rosemary, the Hidden Kennedy's Daughter. This is a nonfiction looking at the life of the daughter or the sister of JFK Jr., who was lobotomized at a very young age and had to essentially live for the rest of her life as a vegetable, which I find extremely interesting. And then as well, like I mentioned before multiple times, I want to finish out the Renegade series with Supernova, so that is definitely up on the list as well, along with a million other things. All right, friends, hopefully enjoyed this rapid fire version of the mid-year book freakout tag. I actually feel like I've been doing pretty good this year. I might be optimistic, but I feel like I'm back on my reading game. I've been knocking things out. I feel like I've been pretty good about reading stuff as it's coming into my shelves. I'm so excited for some books that are coming out in the back half of this year. I feel like the back half of this year is just going to be such a good one. I just have a really good feeling about it. 2026 has definitely been a pretty iconic year in my life. I got married, went on my honeymoon. We've just been having a good time. Moved last year into this house. We're coming up on a year with the library, which I can't even believe. So yeah, it's been a good one, but I'm so excited for the back half of 26. If you guys have any books that you're super excited to read, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to chat with you guys there. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to see more of my face, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!